So I think it's time for me to talk about why I don't use and practically avoid using Windows. Now this video is a little bit different than my other videos in that I have written a blog post or an article on my Medium channel or whatever they call it. At any rate, if you're interested in reading about why I don't use Windows instead of watching or listening to this video, you can go there and check it out. But yeah, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that I don't use Windows unless I really have to. And now I'm going to tell you why. So of all of the things with Windows that piss me off and make me not want to use it, the thing at the top of the list at spot number 1 is the automatic installation of promoted apps and games. So on every brand new Windows install, it comes with a bunch of applications and just stupid games pre-installed. And it's worth pointing out that those apps and games by default have access to your private information, so that's fun. Now in another video I did in the past, I showed you guys how I uninstall all of the default games and apps and all this other bullshit that's going on. But with a lot of Windows updates, those games and apps will secretly be installed back onto your system. And I have to say that this is the most blatant violation of user trust that I have ever seen before. Like doing remote or stealthy installs of security patches or something like that is one thing, but reinstalling games and other applications that the user deliberately uninstalls is absolute bullshit. And in my opinion, it is the single worst thing about Windows 10. Now I know that there's a lot of software and apps out there that can uninstall all the bloatware and supposedly keep it uninstalled, but you should not have to do that. In a reasonable world, if you don't trust the company that's producing your software, then you don't use their software. Like in the Linux world, there's a lot of people out there that just don't trust Canonical. I mean, I don't blame them. So they don't use Ubuntu or other Canonical products. But the folks that use Windows, they just put up with it. Like, oh, that's just how Microsoft is. You can uninstall those apps. No, I shouldn't have to uninstall the apps because the apps shouldn't be there to begin with. So the next travesty on the list is how Windows handles notifications. It is so damn bad. So they call this little side pane the Action Center, and it quickly becomes bloated with so many notifications that it's completely unusable. If you work in software or really anywhere that uses something like Slack, you'll quickly see that this stupid Action Center becomes freaking useless. It holds up to like 20 notifications and then it just overflows. It doesn't do anything anymore. And then some of the notifications are completely useless, like scan drive for errors. Like, what the hell does that even mean? And then from my experience, half the time I click on these notifications, it does nothing. And then at the bottom of the Action Center, there's this stupid section that has a bunch of random shit in it. Now you can sort of customize this section, but there's not really a lot you can do with it. And the defaults are just stupid. Like, why is tablet mode in there by default? I don't know. I would expect Windows to know that these monitors don't support rotation, really, and they're not touchscreen. So what the hell would I be doing with the tablet mode? The whole thing is just dumb. Now the next item on the list is honestly less of a gripe about Windows and more about me being a spoiled Linux user. So in Linux land, applications and software and everything are provided by package management systems, usually. There's some distros that kind of do other stuff, but for the most part, if you want software, you go to your package management system, find it in the repos, and install it. It's very quick, easy, and most importantly, secure. On the Windows side of the house, people still have to go to their browser, go to the developer's website, download the app, and then install it using a freaking wizard. Like, we're talking 1995 technology here. Now, there is software like Chocolatey that kind of helps take the edge off of that installation process, but it's still not great. The Chocolatey UI can only install one application at once, which is super lame, and it usually takes a pretty long time to install basic applications. And then the Chocolatey GUI in particular is not great at searching. Like, if I type in OBS, it'll find one version of it, and then if I type in Open Broadcaster, it won't find anything. So even when you do have Chocolatey, you still have to go to the developer's website to download the damn software. It's so stupid. It's 2018. We should be past having to go to a website to download the software you want. And yeah, I know that Windows has the Windows Store, but it's so bad that nobody uses it. Microsoft has had years to make that thing usable, and they haven't, and they probably won't. Number 4 on the list is licensing. Now, what is there to say about licensing? You have to pay for Windows. Now, I know that people are going to rush into the comments and say, well, hold on, you can actually download and install and use Windows without licensing. And that's, if you're violating the terms of use, then it's kind of besides the point, right? I can download, install, and use Linux without ever having to worry about paying a dime for anything. With Windows, if you use it without licensing, then at the very least you have that stupid thing on the bottom right-hand side of your screen that says, hey, you need to license Windows. Now, Windows Home is $100, and there's a lot of people that say, well, it's not that expensive, you can get discounts and everything, but for what I do on my computer, I have to have Windows Pro, and that is not $100. Now, the last thing on my list is customization. Back with Windows XP and Windows 7, customization was kind of a popular thing, sorta. I mean, you could do it. I remember having friends that customized their desktop and stuff, and it was fun. Now, the Windows UI in general is very inflexible. There's not really a whole lot you can do to it, but at least you could style it and theme it and, change the start menu icon and stuff. With Windows 10, it's just not really popular anymore, and maybe that's more of a gripe of the community, I'm not sure. But I mean, come on, with Linux? Just go to our Unix porn and check out how many different things that people do with their desktops. That's awesome. I like that, and I've talked about it in other videos. Is one of the things I really, really like about Linux is that I can customize it and tweak it, make it the way I want. With Windows, you get a desktop. It's always going to look the same. Yeah, you can move the taskbar on the top or on the sides or whatever, but it's still the same damn thing. You can't change it. That sucks, and I don't like it. So that is the end of my list of 5 things I don't like about Windows. Now, you may have noticed that privacy and updates, which is probably the most common things that people bitch about and hate about Windows, is not on this list. And that's because I don't really care all that much. Yeah, Windows Update sucks, but I mean, what can you say about them? There are ways to turn it off or make it happen at certain times or something, and if you set those up right, then it's fine. By default, Windows will just kind of take over your computer and start updating whenever it feels like, and for the most part, those updates are security updates, so they kind of have to happen anyways, but I don't think they're that big of a deal. I don't like them, but they're not a big enough deal to be on this list. And then there's the privacy concerns. The privacy concern sucks, but it's actually pretty easy to just turn all of the privacy and tracking bullshit off. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, I don't trust that if I turn it off, it's really turned off. I mean, if you can't trust it, then don't use Windows. I don't know what to say. Like, if you don't trust Microsoft that if you tell them to not track you, that they're going to track you anyways, then just don't use Windows. I know that might sound contradictory to my number 1 gripe about Windows, and I guess they're similar, but I don't really care about the whole privacy thing. It doesn't affect my day-to-day workflow when I have to use Windows. I just turn it off and go on with my day, and it's fine. So I don't really care. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap this video up. Now remember, I have an article on Medium that you guys should check out and leave me some claps or whatever you do on there. It was kind of fun to write that article and then do a video kind of based on the article, so I think I'm going to do that again. If you guys like that format, let me know either here in the comments or on the Medium post. Let's get some interaction going. This will be fun, right? So that is going to wrap it up. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video and the article, and if you did, you know what to do. I appreciate all your support, and thanks for watching.